Sunday meet number 3. Um, Gregory did a great job of updating, so if he could keep minutes on who's here, we'll update this according to who's in attendance today. And then agenda, I'd kind of like to keep going over this stuff because we're going to kind of be hitting the schedule over and again, but it's important to remember these things and put them on your calendar and be aware of them. Um, we'll go over the weekly schedules at the different schools. We'll go over competition schedule, and I added VEX this time around because it's going to kind of start conflicting with our schedule a little bit, so I want to make sure we're aware of it. Skills, individual tasks, overviews, and design updates is the big stuff. So, okay, everyone's coming in. All right, great. So for the weekly schedule, I believe we're still sticking with Tuesdays and Thursdays at both schools, except for Carnegie does a Friday. They don't do Thursday meetings. And then obviously our Saturdays have not changed. We're still doing 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and those have been pretty successful. I started throwing in a little bit more detail here because I wanted to understand how the schedule is going to work. FRC competitions is based off of weeks. This is usually everybody kind of remembers when you talk to other teams, you ask them what week they are, and this is just pretty standard. So the first week of competitions, we're not going to be competing, but there will be teams that will be competing for the first time, and we'll get to watch it and get an idea of what's happening. Week 2, so we are the second weekend for the whole season, and that's pretty earlier than what we did last year in channel view. And this starts Friday nights. So the way these events work, you go there on the evening from like 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night almost, and then whenever they kick us out, and then we come back on Saturday in this case, and Saturday morning we do the competition matches, and then Sunday there's one more day of matches. So this is actually a Saturday Sunday, so you want to discuss this. And the reason why I put the spring break here is because we are going to have to think about spring break with parents. So make sure that you take a look at this, because if your parents want to go on spring break that weekend after school ends, we also have a competition that weekend, right when spring break kind of starts that week. So be mindful of it. We're probably keeping the robot and do some more practice during spring break as my guess, because we won't be back at school. We'll be going to some other venue and maybe doing some practice. And then it won't be long before week 4 comes around, and that's going to be a Thursday night event. So everyone needs to check with their school and make sure that we have attendance filled out for that Friday. So that would be the 24th is a Friday. So we'll need to make sure all the schools get their forms started quickly here, because it takes some time to get that approved. But everyone needs to be missing school on Friday if they want to attend the event. And then obviously if we qualify, then the state championship is Easter weekend. It's not a good weekend, but it is what it is. And then world championship, if we qualify for that, is week 8. So you can kind of see how the flow of the season goes. Another thing is VEX schedule. We have a very heavy VEX group at Carnegie and Lamar. I know UIL weekend is going to be on a Sunday, but that also means we'll have a big turnout of people hopefully on Saturday at Lamar practicing before the Sunday competition. And then Region 3 state championship is kind of the last big event for VEX, which is March 4th, the weekend before we do our first FRC event. And we'll kind of get a feeling if the VEX seasons have come to a close there. And if so, then it'll be all FRC for everybody. But if they qualify, then VEX has a world championship way in April. So it's kind of way after everything. Shouldn't be a big conflict between the FRC schedule. So skills overview, I just kind of keep this one here because, make sure you're doing some programming, or you're doing CAD, or you're doing everything else, mechanical tools. So if you don't know which group you're in, you need to come talk to somebody and make sure you have some tasks and things to do, because the CAD team is pretty well established. They're working on things. Programming, not so established. We need to kind of have more clarity of who's leading that, and get people more involved and at least delegate. So updates from the school, we built the wooden mock-up, so I crossed that off. It was a lot of time and effort, and it's very happy that the Ehlers kind of started things off in the garage, and we were able to continue at the school. I know we've been programming a little bit on the 2022 Disco robot, and they did some testing on it on Saturday. Sawmill's going to work on a wooden intake. Bumper brackets, I know Jem and the Ehlers are working on how we're going to make bumper brackets. Westside is doing swerve programming with Adrian, and they should be programming their 2022 robot to 2023, their kitbot from last year. And Adrian, I think, is going to help make sure, delegate those out to some people, so people are working on programming on 2 different robots. We have Rios, I think, for both of them now, so it should work out. And then Sid's doing the overall CAD, and Greg's doing the ARM design, and Sid's also working on some wooden plates that I want him to talk more about later, that we can possibly use as a test swerve drivetrain. Cheryl and Arnav and Vanj are looking at getting the 2013 robot working, and then possibly looking at some April tags of how we're going to set that up with Raspberry Pi. So that's a good task for Carnegie to think about. April tags is going to be important. Individual roles. I know Aya has been doing some great design work. She's got a t-shirt that she posted in the design channel, a banner design that she posted as well. So we're going to get a lot of this stuff pretty close to finalized soon. So definitely voice your opinion if you want involvement with that. And then documentation, we need to do a little bit better job, I think, of getting things prepared. Obviously, we'll get these minutes and these slides up. Gregory has done a good job helping that, but we need to figure out how we want to update our cheap Delphi threads and post, our updates so far to everyone. Inventory, we've kind of fallen behind, and procurement, Sid has done a good job of giving me stuff. I just haven't ordered it, so that's kind of on my fault. And then awards are due soon, so we need more people to help out with awards. If you need something to do, I want you guys to contact us and talk about it, so we're ready to roll. Okay, hopefully I heard a noise.
I just raised a hand for the awards thing. I just wanted to mention something real quick. I wanted to say that awards are so important for all the FRC teams. If your team is announced, we submit for Impact Award, if that submission helps us get an award, you guys are going to feel so proud of it. And to make that submission a strong one, I need to hear from all of you. We have created a Google form, so fill out your thoughts so we can create a strong essay. Also, I have reached out to some students to write me a few notes about their mentor for the Woody Flower submission. I would appreciate the responses too. I have heard back from Sid. But that also, if our mentor is announced as a Woody Flower, for the next stage, it will be such a proud moment for us. So please take the time, 2 minutes, to fill those things out. Thank you.
Yep, awards are very important, and if you feel like you're struggling to find exact tasks to work on, please reach out. We can give you some direct awards to work on. It doesn't take very much time, and it's very helpful at this stage because we have to submit them soon. So let's kind of get into design. I've left some of this from last time just as a summary. We've talked about a 4-bar intake mechanism. We're definitely still in the long style drivetrain. Cone and cube stuff is a little up in the air. We're still kind of down this path of swerve drive, and if the doesn't work out, we might revert to a kitbot, and I think we're using 22 by 28 dimensions from the EveryBot, and we're going to try to stick with those dimensions. EveryBot has 8-inch wheels. Swerve is much smaller, so there's going to be a little bit of height difference between those two setups, but I think we'll hand this off. Yeah, I think some of this is old, so we'll update some of these slides with details about the presentation, but I'm going to stop sharing, and I think I'm going to let Sawmill start off with some intake stuff.
Excellent.
There we go.
Okay, I will put the screen share on. When you see